YouTube. So as I promised, I said that I was going to do a little travel day vlog. It's not going to be super long, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea of when you're a bodybuilder that you will need to be kind of thought out when it comes to travel, so that you can stick to plan, especially when you're competing, or even if you're not and you're in off season and you're much like me and you like to be able to stick to plan, that these little tips will obviously help. First comes the travel and organising your travel. I try to make sure that when I'm travelling somewhere that it will align where I land for being timely for my meals. So say I would always travel on a rest day, I'll try and make sure that I get there to the place around 6-7 o'clock latest, meaning that I'll likely be able to get to my apartment or place at around or before 9/9, meaning I can eat my last meal, and also so that obviously I am settled and in that environment. Then the next day we'll wake and be able to crack on with things like cooking the foods, etc. The one thing that I do is I always get an apartment, and honestly, with how cheap apartments are now, most of the time you will not be paying any more for an actual apartment than what you would if you were doing like an all-inclusive holiday or like a nice hotel room. So that's kind of a real good little tip and trick to do. It means that wherever you are in the world, you can order Amazon Fresh if you make an account for that country, or here in Dubai, InstaShop, and have it all delivered to your door, meaning that the next day you don't have to go out and about food shopping. It's literally just at your door so that you can get about your day. The other thing as well with it is that you'll have a washing machine, meaning that then when you get here you can wash your clothes. Before you leave you can wash your clothes, meaning that then there's not loads of rubbish to do. That's one for you girls. When you actually get home, it helps to eliminate stress. In my actual suitcase, which are on my bed ready to pack away fully, when it comes to little things that I have in here, I have dry products like cream of rice, prep trained by JP Nutrition, include Meg 10. I also have some oats in here because I use oats as well. We also have our isolates. I pop them in Ziploc bags just because I don't need to take the big bags with me, and it makes things way easier. I have rice cakes in there, dark chocolate, raisins, something that I could make a meal just in case I couldn't get to a chef, so that you do not fall away from flat. Even things like apartments usually have shit pans. I have myself a little travel pan. Some people actually use really small little air fryers and take them with them, like a George Foreman even sometimes, so that they can obviously cook their meats and they don't have to worry about if there is actually cooking facilities. That means that if you are staying in a hotel, or maybe one of those hotels that's like it's got a kitchenette, you'd be able to still stick with it. I also have my trusty travel rice cooker in here, so that we can make fresh rice every single day. When it comes to things like health subs and stuff, you can definitely pop them in a pill box, pop them in here, or even pop them in the bag that you take onto the plane. We're not going to talk about other supplements because I'm sure other people have done videos on that. I don't take them anymore, so I don't have to worry about stuff like that. And then it comes to when you go on the plane. So I have myself one sec. So I have my trusty travel bag from Stacked, which allows me to be able to get all of my meals in. So what have I got in my bag? I have my laptop, so that if and when I need to work, I can work. If you're an online coach or you need to work at any time, anywhere, most airplanes now offer Wi-Fi apart from very short flights, especially in Europe. So making sure that you get all your work done prior to getting on those types of flights is important. Long haul, you're usually pretty okay because you can get the Wi-Fi on there, which is pretty decent. I also have my lovely book that I will read a little bit on the plane today, which will be lovely. I have my travel cup, not with water in because obviously it'll get stopped, but it just means that I can keep a track of how much water I'm having. If you're someone who struggles with holding water when you're on a plane, likely you've had too much sodium, not moved enough, not stuck to your plan, not drank enough water. All of those things, or at least one of those things. So if you can keep on top of normal salt intake, keeping a good balanced diet, made sure that you stayed on top of water, moving about the plane, even if it's annoying for the air hostesses. Again, short haul you're fine, long haul, getting up and down the plane is going to be super important, but water is the key. People think to be able to not hold water that they need to not drink water, and that's the same when it comes to a show day. Like, if you want to be flat and if you want to hold water and not look very good, you need to not drink water. So essentially, drink the water. It will help you not hold water on a plane or on show day. So, meals. And I'm saying this before I actually go through security and watch them all took off me now. So I always cook my meals, and there's 6 meals in there, so they're easy to be put in, and I do not have small meals. So if you want a stacked bag, I don't have commission and I don't have a discount code, but this bag's absolutely fantastic. I used to have one from Prepped and Packed, but they just stopped making them, and this is very similar to what it was. Never take a fork or a knife through security. You will get it stopped. Likely as a bodybuilder, if you've got loads of food in, you're going to get it stopped anyway. You might get some people at security that get a little bit funny. Obviously try and explain what you do. The one thing that they don't like is if you've frozen it and then it unfreezes. That's actually against the rules for them to be able to let you through. They'll likely not want to lose their job just because you need to eat your food, so don't let it freeze and then unfreeze, which goes for frozen berries as well. They don't like very runny things. Some people might let you through, some people may not. I've known people have their cream of rice took off them, etc. So for me, I overcook my cream of rice, I overcook my oats. I mix my whey in. I don't make whey paste on top like I would usually. I always use fresh berries, not frozen berries. All the things that can eliminate any juiciness or any kind of runniness is going to be your best friend. So in here, I have like my rice meals. We have my cream of rice meals. My cream of rice meals are not going to be very easy to get out of here, but I will get them out just for you. We've got my bread wheel, obviously, my Globe's bread. That is my wild salmon, that's why it's extra pink. And my cream of rice meals, which kind of looks like a trifle because it's got different layers. If you don't want the food to taste like rubbish on the plane, and just get over the fact that you're going to have to eat some food cold if you're a bodybuilder. If you don't like it, get something else to do, because it's just part of the parcel. You're going to have to eat cold food. I mean, I used to eat cold food when I was a little girl because that's what mum gave me for my packed lunch, so I'm not really bothered. As long as you make it nice, it still tastes nice when it's cold. I always make mine the night before, put it in the fridge so it's chilled, and then pop it in my bag. Otherwise it tastes like shit. If you make it on the day, you leave it warm and then you pop it in your bag and it all kind of festers. Some people are fine, but if you're not going to chill it, as in put it in the fridge, at least cook it to the point where it can cool before you put it in your bag. Otherwise it will taste like rubbish. The next thing that we will be doing is going through airport security, and I will show you if I actually managed to make it through with all my meals, which, because I've travelled quite a lot, it is very easy. People are scared to travel. I think that travel's not bad. You don't want to do it too often, and I say that with the amount of travel that I've got this year. I'm hoping that I can show that you can still make incredible progress with regards to your goals, and still do everything that you need to. It's very different from an open pro bodybuilder that will get absolutely battered from a plane ride, whereas for me, being a smaller female, I don't. So if you're a female and you're a petite female like me, you'll be absolutely fine to be traveling and doing stuff. I would say if you're in your competition prep, especially the last like 16 weeks, you want to be locked in. You want to make sure that you're not really traveling, especially abroad. You want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to bring your best to stage. But away from that, like little holidays here and there, or little trips here and there, like to go and see your clients and stuff, it shouldn't derail you and it shouldn't stop you from making progress. The one thing you just have to be is prepared and organised, and if you're not that, then I mean, not even just travel will derail you. Work, when something crops up and it makes you a little bit stressed, it'll derail you. Like everything just becomes a problem. So make sure you stay organised and stress will be lesser, and you'll be able to stick to plan and feel wonderful. Done steps around the airport to obviously get on top of those before we get on the plane. We'll obviously do some when we get on the plane because it's long haul. We'll be able to walk up and down the aisle, go through the toilet every like hour or so, get yourself moving, make sure that we stay on top of water. Obviously we've got all of our foods. We did make it through security with all of our foods, so nothing actually got buzzed or even taken over to the side for them to check, so good job with packing there, so all the tips that I gave you earlier will definitely help you. Obviously, as we get on the plane and have the meals, I'll probably before I sit down, I will get out 2 to 3 meals to have with me as I'm sat down, so that I don't have to keep getting up and getting down and getting my bag out of the locker, because it's both annoying for me and annoying for other people around, and we don't want that to get frustrating. I make sure that I've got my water with me to make sure I've got lots on. I get my laptop out so that I can work when I need to work, get Wi-Fi as soon as we sit down, so that kind of client stuff doesn't get missed either. So yeah, I do try to plan travel days where possible on days that are a bit less busy for work. Like check-in days don't happen on Sundays, only for those that are competing. At the minute, this day I use it for more admin, because it's always good to be able to have a day for that. Otherwise, if you're trying to do kind of all tasks at once, your check-ins, your form clips, etc., all throughout the day, and then you have a mix of the admin stuff going through, like, you can't get help it sometimes, but if you can actually create a divide, you'll actually be a little bit more productive. Make sure that you can stay on top of everything as much as possible. We had Capture compete over in the US yesterday. She came second. She had a really great season last season. She never placed really, and this season she's placed in the top 3 twice at regional shows. We know that to be able to take the next step up in winning regional shows and being great enough to go to the national shows within the NPC, we just need more muscle. But she is a very petite girl. She's put on a lot of muscle since we started working, and things are only going to get better. So looking forward to hearing back from her this morning when she wakes up, and then we can take it from there. Her plans and stuff were set for post-show a week ago, so she can get to them when she's ready. Told her to take the day off. I know that she's not silly with her food, so I've worked with her for long enough that she doesn't kind of overeat. If anything, I have to force her to eat sometimes. So we also get Emily, Elaine and Cleo competing in the tubers today, so obviously all systems are go on the phone to make sure that we can keep on top of that. And those girls, well, 2 out of 3 of them are going to Spain with me next weekend, and then Cleo will compete a couple of weekends later in Italy, just to give her that little bit of a break. She's a natty, so sometimes having that little bit of downtime after a competition is a little bit better to try and savour that physique and not completely obliterate them, especially because show day does take it out of you a lot. So that is the plan. Anyway, steps are done, foods are all set, and we are ready to get on the plane. So we are not so long as we got back. Pretty timely trip, which is nice. Got some steps on the airplane, got my meals in on the airplane. The way in which I navigate time zones is, if I'm going back, as in going back in time like I would have done from Dubai to home, I add an additional meal every 3 hours that I'm awake, extra than what I would usually. So obviously, because we went back 3 hours, I just added an extra meal. It's not good to fast for your metabolism, especially if you're a natty. So if you're someone who does fast to try and help your hunger later in the day and you are a natural competitor, don't do that. It's one way to ruin your metabolism. So, and to downregulate your actual thyroid. So if you are a natty, well, let's not talk about metabolism, let's just talk about the fact that it's going to downregulate your thyroid. You don't want anything to help with downregulating your thyroid, especially if you're going through a competition prep, because that's going to do that for you anyway. So don't fast, just be okay with the fact that you're going to be hungry. If I go forward in time, I'll either, depending if I'm a hungry girl, I'll either bunch my meals, so that, not bunch them, but kind of split one between the rest of the 5, using those meals, so that obviously then there's an equal amount of protein and it's not too much in one go. Or I will miss a meal and then look to maybe add that when I come back home, so that it kind of equals out over the week or 10 days or 2 weeks, however long. If I go to somewhere like America, because that is going back in time, and some places like 9 hours difference, I'll look to add like 2 or 3 meals in, so that I'm not fasting for too long. Again, if you're a non-competitor, does that really matter? Probably not really. You do want to have a good amount of foods to be able to give yourself the fuel that you need. If you obviously are a competitor, it does matter. So you do have to use more meals per day, or you just don't have a very big bag, or you don't want to carry a very heavy bag, you could literally just put your meals, especially your rice meals, potato meals, bread meals, obviously not your cream of rice or oat meals, in a baggie, and then you can have meals that are in a Tupperware, and then you can just reuse the Tupperware, wash it in the toilets after every time, and just pour it in. And then that's just a really quick way to be able to save some time. But that is how I'd navigate time zones, how I'd kind of save space in my bag. And when it comes to selecting my flights, I always do it so that I've got time to be able to get home, get to bed if it's evening time, or obviously try and get it in the daytime where then I've got space to be able to do my other things during the day, like train if I need to, etc. So I'm not really having to adjust my schedule. The most important thing that I'll say is you'll need to stay very organised. You have to be prepared for life to feel a little bit busy if you do travel, but that's the same every day. The things that you have to do at home, get your bins out, do washing, etc. Like, it's all time that you need to be able to dedicate to do all of it to keep life flowing. And if you get a little bit overwhelmed, if you get a little bit stressed, just make sure that you take a second to take a deep breath and get through it. But that is the end of the travel vlog. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned some stuff to it. I enjoy travelling, and I wouldn't want anything to stop me from being able to do it. Obviously now it's more so from a work perspective to do it, so being able to navigate that and still make great progress is super important. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'll be back again for another video.